and then
Oh,
the
we're live
Azaitar.
anyway.
All right,
The
let's do it.
Avatar. I thought you said the Avatar. All right, what's up, everyone? It's South China Morning Post, SCMP MMA post-fight podcast. It's Nick and John here in the house. John, what's going on?
Not much, man. Just recovering from a weekend away from the city, and yeah, it was cool to get away and kind of go check out the ocean. COVID still is in effect because when you go out to some of these little surf towns and beach towns, it's pretty much empty. So I think a lot of people still worried about the COVID, but the COVID situation is getting much, much better in Korea. I don't know what they're worried about. I guess paranoia is good. You know, it's not like people are out there with no masks on and just running around spitting in each other's faces, which is definitely always a good
Okay.
thing, you know.
Which ocean did you go and see?
I think it's the EC. I think that's what it's called, the EC.
Okay.
It's just ocean. Yeah,
Peaceful?
Korea's oceans and beaches are nothing like anything in the Southeast Asia. So
Well, I briefly saw a bit of the ocean in Busan. And is that the ocean? It was a beach. It was pretty
yeah,
cool.
it's same ocean as the one that I was at.
Okay.
Just I was just up north more, and it's just it looks just like what is it a labor town. You know, it looks just like a beachfront town in a cold area. Nothing like beautiful like a beach in Thailand or even in Hong Kong. So, anyways, let's get into the MMA stuff, man.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
trying to get depressed and stuff
I'm in,
about
I'm
talking about
enjoying catching up with you, getting your
that.
thoughts.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah. So enjoyed that, and then come back and get back into real life again. Get back into the mix. Get back into the grind.
Yeah, because I texted you, John, do you want to do a podcast on Saturday? Like, I'm no, sorry, man, I'm gone all weekend. And this is a rare thing for JHK because this guy is like Mr. Work, Mr. No Days Off. You know, he just never ever chills. And I want you to chill out. I want you to take days off. So I was so happy when you did that. And I was like, oh, God, thank God I can actually have a rest as well. Yeah, but we're back, and we're here. I'm just making a banner, and here it goes. It's going to scroll across the screen right now. Boom! SCMP MMA post-fight podcast. Zhang Weili in Singapore, Paige VanZant, BKFC debut, and the Azaitar Bros. And there's loads of other news, I guess we can get into, but why don't we
Definitely.
start with that? You broke this story, John, on Twitter. You blew up on the Twitter, hundreds of retweets and likes, all that stuff. Even Ariel Hawani like gave you a shout out and retweeted it, and he confirmed it as well, which is great. So, what did you hear? Talk us through it. Zhang Weili, Singapore, April 17th or
Yeah, yeah.
24th. Yeah.
One thing I did not like about the news, I put everything that I know into that tweet, right? And I didn't try to mislead anybody. I didn't try to do none of that, right? I just try to give out the facts of what I heard from a reputable source, a source that I have that is legit. But then these websites go off and start making these fantasy matchups, like Rose Namajunas is fighting Zhang Weili in Singapore, and then or if she doesn't step in, and then Carla Esparza is going to step in and fight Zhang Weili in Singapore, and
The
I'm like,
ecosystem. It's weird to see it, isn't it? It
yeah,
just
it's
everyone
weird to
kind of
see
makes
how
up shit
like
after. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like not just like people on social media, it's websites that are doing it, like websites that bring you the news, and I'm just confused by like even like for us, we didn't even put it on our website,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
my colleague said, "Hey, do you want me to write something on John's tweet?" And I said, "No, man," because John texted me specifically and said, "Like, let's not put it on the website. Let's just leave it
Because
at
it's
that."
not a
Like,
it's
yeah,
it's it's a good source, but the thing is like there's still too much, you know, there's still too much mystery to that, right? Because
yeah, yeah.
what I heard was the 17th and the 24th, and the 17th there's already a fight night booked for that date. But you know what the UFC does sometimes, they'll switch dates around, if they need to, if something doesn't fit their schedule. And then I heard that UFC 261 was supposed to be on the 24th. So I didn't know for sure if that Singapore card was going to be a pay-per-view or a fight night. And it'll be hard for me to believe that UFC 261 is going to happen in Singapore. Would you believe that if I told you that?
Well, I did think about it, and I thought if they're doing Zhang Weili in Singapore, a fight night's not enough. If they want to give a showcase to these Asian stars, because they wanted Yan Xiaonan on the card, is what I heard as well. And you got to imagine the Leech might be in the mix, and Song Yadong, and maybe Sumu Derji. It makes sense to trump it up as a pay per view, but
But you need to bolster. You need to add something major to that lineup to make it a pay-per-view. You need to put at least 2 titles on there because you can't just anchor a pay-per-view with Zhang Weili. She's not that, let's be honest, she's not that big of an international star. So it's like we need something else. And then you heard that Weidman, I guess he tested positive for COVID, so they're delaying the Uriah Hall matchup and they're moving it to April, end of April, and they're now this rumor that it should be on UFC 261, which could be in Singapore. You see, like all of these things right here, there's a lot of mystery right there, right? You know, there's a lot of mystery right there because we don't know if it's 261. We don't even know if Chris Weidman and Uriah Hall is going to be on the same card. But then Uriah Hall puts out this tweet saying like China is taking over. So is that a clue that he's on the card with Zhang Weili? I see. That's the thing. Is like I don't know these
well,
things. You know what I mean?
I asked for an official comment from UFC, and I was told we have no comment. So that's all I got. Yeah.
So you can't deny. So they're not saying that they're denying any news. It's just there's no comment, right? Which means they don't have news, any solid news for you. But like I said in the tweet, it's still the early stages. They're working on it, but it's something that they're working on, and that's what I wanted to kind of give people in the MMA world of what's happening at the end of April, and hopefully it does materialize, and maybe we might even get to go. Who knows? I'm wishing if it does happen, maybe we could get out there and cover the show.
I'd love to go, but I don't want to quarantine for 3 weeks when I come back, which has what has just happened to Mr. Alan Nalani, the Panther, who just fought in Singapore on one championship, and he's now quarantined for 3 weeks. I need a little bit. I'm already going stir crazy as it is. I'm still able to leave my flat, my tiny apartment. I'm still able to go outside and interact with the world slightly. But if you tell me I need to sit in a room for 3 weeks, I don't know how I will handle that. So I'm not sure I'll go. Maybe the world's going to be a little different by April. Here's Diraj. What's up, Diraj? One of the boys. He's friends with the Fanatics guys. He says, "Are we flying down to Singapore?" I'm not sure I'm going to go. You should, man. And anyone who wants to go and do that 3 weeks quarantine, I'm sure it'd be an awesome experience if that show goes ahead. But as we were saying, John, it's not confirmed yet, is it?
No, it's not. And so what we're gonna do right now is just play fantasy matchmaking, and that's
Did
what
you
we're
say
here for.
fantasy? Did you
Yes.
say
Oh,
fantasy?
I did say
Oh,
fantasy. Do you have something
oh,
for us?
I have something for us. Yeah. What you need to do, guys, if you like fantasy, is go and download the Fanatics Fantasy MMA app. You can get it at getfanatics.app or go to the App Store and you can make your picks. You can join us in the SCMP MMA group, join our league. We're nearly got 100 people in there. It's a new month, it's a new day. So we got wiped all the results off from last month. I had a horrible couple of shows at the end of that month, slipped from 5th in the league table to something like 38th, maybe even lower. So I'm ready and raring to go again. We're going to start with this week's picks for the UFC show with Overeem Volkov. We're going to have a little preview for you guys, maybe on Thursday or Friday. I'll figure that one out. And also, there's one championship, Unbreakable 3s, and there, John. Stamp Fairtex is back in action. So plenty of shows to go around. We're ready to go again. Sadly, the app is still not available in South Korea, I think. Have you heard anything?
No. Yeah, it's not available, but
All right.
anybody else, in the world, they can enjoy the app, and it's free. It's fun. Just get involved, man. It's always better to watch fights after you picked your fighters that you believe are going to win, and then you can compare your picks to other people in the community. Join the community. That's what I want the most out of everybody, is to let this combat sport bring everybody together and be in a friendly and competitive arena of picking fights and have fun, and you could talk a little trash on there, and as long as you keep it somewhat clean, It's all good. That's what it's about. So please go to Fanatics and get the app and get your picks in now, because you can't get your picks in late. Get them in early. Actually, it's better to pick late. See what everybody else picked first. But
Well, you can
that's just,
see, yeah, you can see what we say. We do previews using the app, and we will show you how it all works. But as John says, it's really fun. Although I can't lie, it was a little bit sad after I completely bottomed out at UFC 257 with 3 picks correct out of 11. So the highs and the lows, John. The as the UFC calls their documentary series, the what is it? The ecstasy and the agony or something. What is it? Those ones they put on their YouTube.
agony. Yes, the agony of the something agony. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Something in agony, right? It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
ecstasy. It's not. I don't think it's
Because
ecstasy.
that's a drug that people
Yeah.
take. They probably
Yes.
wouldn't call it that. What is it? Someone in the comments tell me. Yeah, it's a great app. Anyway, go download it. The link is there in that ticker below. It's also in the description, or you can just simply go to getfanatics.app. It's so easy. Join us. Let's have a good February. Get involved. The slate has been wiped clean, as I said. So if you had a bad month in January, you go again in February. And the winners each month going to get a swag pack from SCMP and Fanatics. We're going to send you out some merch, all that stuff. Some stuff
Oh,
is on the way to Jasmine over in Georgia. I'm trying to figure out with her because she told me it's really difficult to get things sent to Georgia because there's some issues there. But don't worry, we're on the case. So if you win, you get some freebies from us. Dheeraj says, sup. Good to see you again. Chris is in the house. Swoop. Yeah, what's up, Chris? Oh, we would have had Dheeraj. There you go. All right, John. So anything else you want to add on this stuff with Weili, or are we going to move on?
yeah. Just thinking about who can actually compete on the card. If you're gonna kind of have this China invasion or China takeover, then you got to include the other Asian countries, because it's not just China, it's Asia, right? So you got Wei Li gonna fight for the title. So most likely Rose Namajunas is gonna end up fighting her. And then if she doesn't want to fight, we got Carla Esparza. So we got that taken care of. So whoever's fighting Wei Li fights her in the main event. But I feel like they do need to add one more title fight if they do make it a pay-per-view. So what about an idea? See, the thing is, like, who can fight for the title? Who doesn't have a title fight lined up that would go to Singapore and defend their title or fight for a title? Because it seems like the most vacant title, or a title that could possibly be vacant in the next couple of months, is the lightweight title. Could we put the lightweight belt on the line over there in Singapore as the main event, and you got Wei Li as the co-main? And then, there was these fake reports of Jan taking on Joanna Jędrzejczyk, which was completely false, and a lot of people fell for that news. Yeah, I guess Tom Taylor, he's the one who kind of got.
I feel slightly responsible for that because I responded to your tweet and I said I'd heard reports about this same thing last month, and I heard that they also wanted Yan Jianan on the card. And then I said at the end of my tweet, what about Yan against Joanna in Singapore? And then suddenly there were reports coming out like UFC wants Yan versus Joanna in Singapore. And I don't know if it was my tweet that sparked that, but if it was, it's completely not what I said.
Yeah,
I, I
yeah.
I know that they are interested in that match, but as Tom Taylor spoke to her, he asked her and she said she doesn't want to fight right until there's fans back. She was very
Yeah.
explicit about that, and she also wants to renegotiate her contract. She wants more money and she wants fans. I think Joanna's willing to wait out a little bit. And also, yeah, I think we also heard other noise that fight is definitely not going to happen. So I'm sorry to burst the bubble, anyone who said that. If you see reports like that, sometimes you've got to question it, right, John? Little pinch
You
of salt.
question always question it first, and then wait. Don't even respond or get hyped about it. Just wait a little bit, and then you'll start to figure if it's true or if it's false or if it's something that's in the works. You'll figure it out eventually. But a lot of times now, if something comes out on the news, if it's on Twitter, a lot of it could be a fake account. It could be an account that's just they're making a mistake, or they're trying to put bad juju out there. I don't know. But anyways,
Well, a
they're
lot of
not
sites,
fighting.
man, like to just not sound like a priest or anything, but there's a lot of when you go through a real website, a real news organization, there's like 10 channels of authorization you've got to get through. You've got to pass this and that. But smaller sites don't have those channels where you've got to verify information and stuff. I'm not saying information doesn't slip through the cracks on big websites. Of course it does, and we've seen it, but usually there's a retraction saying this is wrong and this is incorrect. But on like a blog or something, you can write whatever the fuck you want because no one's going to question you or say anything about it, right? So that's how it happens.
And even if they question you, it doesn't really matter because you're just a blog. You're just
Yeah, 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 yeah.
just a website on your own, right? So you have the freedom. It's the freedom of expression. You could do that. But yeah, just usually if the major websites are not clearly picking it up and expressing that this is something that is plausible or in the works or signed by one side or the other or contracts have been sent out, then I wouldn't believe anything what people are posting. But then at the same time, I'm posting stuff on Twitter too, which is something that is completely true, right? But I'm not usually. I don't like. I come across so much information that I never post. You know what I mean? I've said stuff to Nick just behind closed doors about stuff that's going on, but I would never post that on Twitter unless it's something that I feel that is legit news or something that will benefit the MMA community as a whole, right? Or something that's not known at the moment. But I would never throw something out there that's just to stick it on the wall and say, "Oh, maybe this is going to happen. Hopefully it does." Because if it was like that, then I'll be sticking out all kinds of tweets on the walls, right? Just tweeting out every random stuff, and hopefully one of them sticks. So that's the game some people are playing, right? And it's not right, but what can you do? You can't control them. So going back to the Singapore thing, yeah. So Jan's not going to be fighting Joanna, but Jan could be fighting somebody, and I think she's got to fight somebody in the top 5
Well,
if she's going to be on
our
the card.
guy Drake, who does the show with us,
Mhm.
he just spoke to Marina Rodriguez, and she's calling for that fight. She
All right, that's
wants Yan
perfect.
Xiaonan. I was
That's
thinking
perfect.
that's actually perfect. Not just because I want that article on our site because of the South China Morning Post. We want to feature Chinese fighters, but I think it's a good fight. Marina Rodriguez is now 6th, I think.
Mhm.
Yan is 3. But Yan, do you take that fight if you're Yan? Because you're risking your position a little bit, aren't you? She's very close to a title shot. She maybe just has to take out Joanna, and then she's got Weili or Rose.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think she would take the fight if it's something that the UFC. It's something that she wants and the UFC wants at the same time, right? Which of course, she wants the title fight, but most likely she's not going to get that. And and I think even though she's ranked number 3, she's going to have to fight somebody behind her. I don't think no one in front of her is going to fight her because they're already lined up for the title shot.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
unless you're going to force like Carla Esparza, Carla Esparza to fight Jan, I don't think she's going to be able to fight somebody ahead of her. So let her fight Marina Rodriguez. Marina Rodriguez is coming in with that knockout victory over Amanda Ribas.
that's a
I
big
feel like
name she
that's
took.
yeah,
'Cause- yeah,
it's a
that's a
big
big name.
name. Might not be the biggest name as in like
Yeah,
credential wise, but a lot of hype behind Amanda
hype
Ribas.
train. Yeah,
Yeah, hype train. I don't know if it's derailed, but it takes a stop right at Marina Rodriguez Station for a little bit, and Marina Rodriguez she went out there and did extremely well, and you don't really see that too often in that strawweight division where a girl like one punch she had her rocked hard, right? She was almost pretty much out on her feet. So we'll see. But I like it. I like that matchup. I think you could put that on there. That gives it somebody look at Waleed Reed. If you look at the comments, he actually has a pretty good
no.
suggestion.
What was this?
A
The
pay-per-view.
Okay. Waleed, what's up, Waleed? Good to see you again. If it's pay-per-view, they got to add Valentina versus Jessica Andrade to the card as the co-main. Both said they are ready to fight in March or April. I mean, this card is April, right?
Yeah.
It's late April. Okay, so that fits the timeline. Yeah, you want to see that?
Oh
That's
yeah.
a lot of people are saying that should be the next fight for Valentina, but
Yeah. A lot of people say that. I think the UFC likes it too. For some reason, they don't really want Lauren Murphy to fight for the title. I
yeah,
guess she'll have to wait, or she'll have to fight somebody else. But yeah,
I
if
mean
you put
Jessica's got some name. She's got a name there. I mean, Lauren Murphy's great, but you got a former champion, Jessica, haven't you? And she's coming off in a huge finish. I think it was second round. Brilliant finish of Chikagan, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So she's got some steam. I can see why they want to make that. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to see that. I would love to see a back-to-back women's titles on a pay-per-view like this. And Valentina, she's famous in Asia too. She's well known out here in these areas, and she has that connection to Tiger Muay Thai. Andrade, she's popular everywhere, man. And she fought for the title in China. She lost the title, but she fought for the title over here, so she understands what it takes to come over here and fight and win. That would be huge. I feel like this would be a good card. You put Valentina
Mm.
Andrade, and then you put Weili versus Rose or Carla, and then you got. I haven't even mentioned the Korean Zombie. You know what I mean? Maybe he could lose that 20 kg by the end of April, and I don't think it's too much of a trouble for him to lose that weight. But
It's
yeah, I
more
think
trouble for
if
me
you
to lose that weight, John. I
yeah, it's
mean,
more trouble for me
I'm 1
too.
month into keto. I've probably not lost 20 kgs yet, but
Yeah, of
we're
course you're
still
not.
going. We're still going. We're still going.
That's good. That's good. Well, the thing about the Zombie is I know that the Zombie doesn't want to fight a main event in his next fight because he's fought 7 straight main events, which means he's been
Give the guy 3
basically
rounds, please.
yeah,
Just
he wants to go
yeah.
3 rounds. He doesn't want to train for a 5-round fight. And that's understandable because he's not getting paid that much. If you've seen what he's getting paid, dude, I was pretty shocked.
I was
I thought
shocked.
he
Yeah, I
deserved.
saw his last fee for the Ortega fight was so low. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
I was like, that's like highway robbery in
Yeah.
many ways. You got
It was
that
like
guy main eventing so
85K
much.
or something.
Yeah, it's like, how do you have a guy main eventing 7 times in a row and you're only paying him like 80K a fight? That's lower than a lot of people that haven't even fought for a title yet. And he fought for the featherweight title against Jose Aldo. So and he's been a top fighter for years and years now. I don't know what's going on, but he deserves a lot more money. But the thing is, like that works out for him to not have to fly over to North America or to Fight Island. He could fly straight to Singapore, which is I think 3 or 4 hour flight, same time zone basically. He gets a 3 round fight that he wants, not a main event, and he's going to be not even the co-main event. He'll probably be the third fight if it's a pay-per-view, and he takes on no other than who? Zabit. I think Zabit is the fight to make. Zabit hasn't competed in more than a year. Even though Zombie's coming off a loss, he's been wrecking the division for a while, and I feel like Zabit will be the best test. And I think that Zabit probably would like to fight the Zombie too. I think if Zabit beats the Zombie, just like how Brian Ortega got a title shot off that, I think that Zabit could get a title shot off that if he beats the Zombie. But if the Zombie beats Zabit, then that puts a monkey wrench into that title picture, which could catapult the Zombie into fighting. If let's say Volkanovski still has the belt after the Ortega fight, it could be him. It could be Max. You know what I mean? There's a lot of fights that they could put together. But when I look at the main fighters that could be on that card, I look at Jan. You got Wei Li. You got the Korean Zombie. Loma would be a good fit for that. She's in Thailand. That's like an hour flight, I think, to Singapore. You could bring somebody in to face her at strawweight. Um, you know, who else is there? There's the Leech, like you said, the Leech is there. There's Kang Kyung-ho, who hasn't fought in a while, but I think he's back to training and he's ready to go. So there could be a couple good bantamweight matchups. I like to see him fight like Sean O'Malley or somebody because Sean O'Malley's coming off a loss, so I don't know who he's gonna fight, but Kang Kyung-ho would be a good matchup. Other than that, you got a couple other Korean fighters, but I think they're set up to fight somewhere else. But you never know. You know what I mean? April, they might delay it and have them fight there. But the Asian scene, it's slim pickings in many ways, right? But then also you have those 2 fighters from the UFC Academy that got signed by the UFC too. So where are they going to fit in? Are they going to go?
Talk about that. World
Yeah.
War One. Tim has just put this up here,
Oh shit.
saying there have been rumors that 2 Chinese fighters, Aori Chileng and Liang Na, have been signed by the UFC. Do you guys know anything about this? And if so, how good are these? It's not rumors. I reported on this for scmp.com/MMA. I put it out there, and I'm not saying I got the scoop. It was a press release. But the interesting point on this, John, was that Aori's nickname caused a stir, a little bit of a stir,
I love it.
because his nickname is the Mongolian Murderer, which even my boss, when he was editing the article, said, "I'm not sure we can print this." And then I was like, his name is his name. I can't say anything. We ran with it eventually. I fully expect the UFC is going to make him change the name. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna make him change his name,
There's just a
because
little bit of history there, though, isn't there?
yeah, of course, there's got to be something that goes deeper than just the name. You know what I mean? Like, because Vanderlei Silva, he was the axe murderer. And I don't know. Is that Mongolian murderer?
I think it's
He's
it's
Mongolian,
something,
right?
yeah.
He's
Yeah,
Mongolian,
he's
right?
Mongolian, but there were a lot of people. There's the history between China and Mongolia
Yeah.
and Japan and everything. There's a lot of things could be taken incorrectly. I'm sure
Oh,
the UFC doesn't want a
always.
PR nightmare.
Always. There's always things taken incorrectly between Japan, Korea, China, Mongolia. There's a long history of wars. There's a lot of stuff going on there, that, if you really dig deep enough, everything is offensive. But anyways, like you said, they were signed. You got the news of it. You reported on it, and they could be on that April card.
Yeah, it's official. It's official,
Yeah.
folks. Yeah, second and third graduates out of the China Academy, and I got some big news is going to be coming soon. I can't wait to share it with you, John.
Mhm.
I can tell you offline, but I'm very excited about this one, and I think everyone on the show. Maybe I'm bigging up too much, but I think it's big news for the China Academy and the Performance Institute. I hope you all enjoy it. But couple of other comments I'll just get to. Jim wanted to. What's up, Jim? Saying the TKZ's on that WEC salary. Yeah, he needs more money. Let's be honest. The guy main evented a show in his home country. I mean, if he was paid 85K for the Ortega fight, what did he get for the Edgar fight? Would have been less, right?
7 main events in a row. How do
Yeah.
you main event 7 times in a row and still only get paid 85K? That blows my mind.
Maybe that's why he gained 20 kilograms, man.
Maybe that's one of the reasons. He's probably ate like 15K of that, right?
Yeah.
In that month.
Hey, I mean, I know his plight. I comfort eat a lot when I'm sad and depressed, and during these lockdowns, I've been there, and I'm sure it was that was a tough loss to take, wasn't it? The Ortega fight. I know we're laughing about it, but it's not a laughing matter in a way. I think he also said other things that were quite interesting, John, where he said he blacked out after the elbow and he couldn't remember the third, fourth, or fifth rounds. And that was also information I didn't know, which just shows you how tough A, he was, and B, how brilliant Ortega was.
Well, he talked about that like right after the fight was over, that he did, in one of his posts. I think it was in Korean, so most people didn't know what it
Didn't
said.
pick up on it, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people didn't pick up on it,
Stupid white people like me.
and he pretty much what you just said. He said that after that elbow, he was like on cruise control. He was just fighting. He doesn't remember anything about the third or fourth or basically the fifth. I think he said in the fifth round he started to come to and realize that he's in a fight, which is crazy, right? Like your brain is like turned back on, and then you're like, oh, I'm fighting one of the best dudes in the world, and he's just beat me up for 4 straight rounds, and now I have to come back, which is a tall task for anyone. And there's a crazy stuff. He's tough. That he's skilled. It just wasn't his night. He wasn't clicking on that night, and Ortega was. Yeah, Ortega was clicking, man, and Ortega went in there and did his job, man. And I feel like I'm excited to see what Ortega can do in his next fight. It just makes more things exciting. And with the zombie, I feel like the zombie's gonna come back. He's gonna do well, and he's gonna be fighting one of the top guys no matter what, because the UFC is not gonna waste a talent like the zombie and have him fight some random mid-level featherweight in his next fight. They're gonna have him fight somebody with a name, and like I said, the Zabit. But besides that, there's a few other Asian fighters that should be on that card, but it's slim pickings, man. So they're gonna have to bring a lot of people in. But I'm pretty sure the UFC is gonna want to keep everything on this side of the world, so they'll probably fly in some Australians, some New Zealanders. I can see a few of the City Kickboxing boys on that card. A lot of them are used to fighting in China or Southeast Asia, so you could see them there. And yeah, that's about it. But Other than
All
that,
right.
I want to end with this. There's nothing finalized yet about Singapore. You guys, everything is in the early stages, like I said in the tweet. Whatever you hear outside of that, I have no idea about. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If you hear something from someone else, that's them. I don't know about that, right? I just tell you what I know. And right now it hasn't really changed, but I'm very excited for it. I'm always happy to have a show in Asia, over in this side of the world, and it will be the first show if it does happen outside of Las Vegas and actually outside of the US and Abu Dhabi, right? Because the US had
Yeah.
the Jacksonville shows and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, so
Well,
hopefully it
I'm
happens.
excited, John, because
Mhm.
the main reason I wanted this show to happen is because I want to say ha at James Goyder, because he tweeted below your tweet and below my tweet saying no chance, full
Yeah.
stop.
Well, I
There's a
think he's
chance.
looking at, yeah,
There's
there's
always
always
a
a
chance.
chance. But I think he's looking at like all the protocols and the restrictions and things
I
that
know
are
the
in place.
protocols as well.
But if one championship can do it, why can't the UFC?
Exactly, and it would be kind of weirdly funny if the UFC comes in and does a huge show in Singapore, right after one championship paved the way a little bit by doing the test run, because that's what one sold it as at the beginning, is we're the pilot program. They say it in
Mhm.
the emails so that Singapore can put on, and I think I'm quoting literally, like they said, we are the pilot program for Singapore to run bigger, larger scale sporting events. So if the UFC comes in and does a show, does that hurt? If you're one, do you take that as a compliment or a diss or what? Because one's still
You
going to have the base there, but is it a slap in the face or what?
I don't know if it's a slap in the face because one championship had to do what they had to do to put on shows, is to come to an agreement with the Singaporean government to allow fighters to come in and compete and put on these shows, and that's why we got these tape delayed events, right? Is because that's the only way they could put on multiple events, is just to bring everybody at one time and film all the fights ahead of time and then have a couple that you have that are live. But yeah, they paved the way, man. You got to show respect to one championship on in that aspect at that level. And the UFC, of course, they see that. They've probably been studying it. They probably been researching it, and then they understand like, okay, now it's time to get in contact with the Singaporean government and to see what we can do to get these fighters in there, to get them quarantined, to get them clean, to pass all the protocol, and to be able to fight and then be able to go back home. Because I think the UFC doesn't care about the quarantines when you get back home, because they're going to pay for all of that anyways, right? So they're just worried about getting the fighters there and being able to have them fight and compete, and that's it. So I don't see anything wrong with that. I see that if the UFC is able to put on a large scale event, that actually helps um, one championship, because one championship's been putting on small scale events, right, with like a couple hundred in attendance. If the UFC comes in and does a couple thousand in attendance, that means one championship could come back and say, okay, now we're able to put a couple thousand into the arena and do a show. Don't you think?
Mhm. I'm down with that. I agree. It's no disrespect to one. Some other comments here. I'll just go through
Mhm.
quickly. John K. What's up, John? Nick, why are you wearing Mick Foley's flannel? Hey, if it works for Mick, it works for Nick. I'm down with that. JHK is suing the Phil MMA dude of clout. MMA dude method of clout chasing. I'm not. Maybe that was something from earlier. Gaff Ali, what's up? Saying I think Lauren Murphy is most deserving of that title shot with Valentina. Yeah, I mean, I think she definitely has a shout, doesn't she, John? But I could see why they might go with and Josh. But here we go. More from Chris. Here's a question from Chris. Did you guys see James Vick in XMMA, BKFC, and FMD next time? Time to retire. Yeah, it wasn't good, was it, John? I didn't see it live. I saw my Twitter timeline talking about it. It didn't sound great.
I did not even see it at all. I just heard that he was knocked out again by somebody. And hey, man, fighters go through slumps. Just
Yeah,
because they're outside of the UFC doesn't mean that they're not a fighter anymore. They're like they don't. that the slump doesn't continue, because there's a lot of guys out there that are UFC level that are not in the UFC fighting, crawling themselves up and looking for a chance to face the James Vick and take them out. And that's what happened in this fight. That's what the guy did. He took advantage of the opportunity and smoked James Vick. Now, James Vick, I don't know if he's going to go to bare knuckle fighting championship. There's a few other promotions in North America, MMA promotions, that will most likely pick up James Vick and allow him to compete there. I still feel like he's not that old, and he still has a lot in the tank, man. So we'll see James Vick again. Just because he got knocked out doesn't mean he's knocked out of his career. I don't see him doing bare knuckle though at all.
Absolutely. Someone who is doing bare knuckle, though. Great segue, John.
Mm-hmm.
Paige VanZant, who you've just interviewed or about to interview for SCMP MMA.
Yeah,
Have
I
you done it
talked to
already?
her. Yeah, I talked to her earlier
All
today,
right. Can you give
and
us a little sneak peek? What happened?
yeah, I asked her about the, being one interesting, thing that I asked her about was being a martial artist or a prize fighter. Because whenever you think of a bare knuckle boxer, you think of a prize fighter. You think of the guys that are like this, right? Their fists are out here like this, and their chin is up, and they're like, it's like that movie Far and Away, with Tom Cruise and his former wife. I forgot her name. Nicole Kidman, right? Far and Away, where Tom Cruise is bare knuckle boxing his way through America, and that's what you call a prize fighter. So I asked her, like, do you consider yourself more of a prize fighter than a martial artist? And she did not hesitate and said, "I'm a straight up martial artist. Like, I'm a martial artist, I'm not a prize fighter. I'm a martial artist. This is what I consider myself. I've been doing martial arts all my whole life." And that kind of surprised me a little bit, because a lot of people believe that bare knuckle boxers are prize fighters. They're fighting for the prize. That's more important than anything, right? Because when you go in there and you strip your hands naked and slam into someone's cranium, there's a lot of damage that could happen in those exchanges, right? And it's a risk. But yeah, she gave that martial arts answer, and that just shows me that she's gonna end up going back to MMA eventually. If you're a martial artist, you want to be able to use all your skills, elbows, knees, kicks, everything, right? And if you want to do Lethway, you can use your headbutts too. Maybe she will do that. I don't know, but she's still young, man. But it was an interesting talk. She feels like she still needs a couple more fights before she gets up to like the more high, more or less high profile bare knuckle boxers, to face them and to fight for someone to fight for a title. So she got into that, and yeah, it was a quick one. It wasn't like too long, because she fights in a couple days. It's not She fights on the 5th, so it's less than a week away. I think she's just been doing a bunch of PR where I felt like it. You know how when you interview somebody and you feel like, oh, this person has been doing interviews all day. Can you feel that sometimes?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a
So
fun segue. If you want to hear my story about that, one championship century, and you didn't make it because of the typhoon,
yeah.
and I was delayed a day by the typhoon. I finally got there. I landed in Tokyo about 4 p.m. I jumped on a bus, got right to the hotel for like 5 p.m. when the media day was starting. I think I caught Demetrius Johnson right at the end. He'd already done 10 interviews. He'd done the Schmo. Schmo was there. It was a big show. Helen, he'd done Schmo, Helen, done everyone. And just as he's leaving the hotel, I'm like, DJ, can I have an interview? And the PR's Tammy and saying like, DJ, oh, please give one to Nick. He's one of our friends, So DJ gives me like the most terse interview ever. And I get it. The guy just is done. He wants to go home. So it's fair enough. I think that's a thing.
Yeah.
I never begrudge a fighter though for feeling that way, or an athlete of any sport. Sometimes we're annoying. Sometimes we're hard to deal with, aren't we, John? So if you got Paige at the end of the day and she was like that, it's all good. I can't wait to see the interview though. When you dropping it?
Probably either probably tomorrow morning or something like that.
Okay,
So
I look forward to that.
yeah, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I got her, and it was good. It was great to speak with her. I never spoke with her before, so
I can't wait to
very
see it.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
A couple more questions and comments. World War One, Tim. I hope that is what WWI or one stands for in your name. We just saying it all the time, but let us know if it's not, Tim. Have you guys seen that recent Shuto event? If so, what are your thoughts on Yamato Nishikawa? I think he should be on everyone's radar in the Asian MMA scene. The kid is only 18 and he was fighting since he was 15. One for
I
you,
don't
John.
know.
I'm not
I
too
don't
sure.
remember. I didn't watch
we,
the last
we need
shooter
Drake
event.
up in here. Where's Drake?
Yeah, I don't even think Drake watches Shudo, but I haven't watched the last Shudo show, and I've heard the name Yamamoto Nishikawa, but I don't really remember exactly off the top of my head who that is. But I'll definitely keep my eye on him and probably go back and watch him fight if I could find it somewhere online. But yeah, thanks Tim for pointing that out for us. We'll
All right.
definitely have to
What
research.
about this? Many news asked Jim on whether there'll be another fight for Akiyama. If so, who? Is this Sexy Yama?
Yes, this is Sexy
Okay.
Yama.
I always want to see a bit of Sexy Yama. I would love to see another fight. I haven't heard anything. Have you, John?
No, I haven't heard anything about Sexyama coming back and fighting, but I'm pretty sure he's probably going to come back and fight. I one thing that I remember hearing is that he will probably, if he does fight, it's only like once a year. It's like that type of thing, you know. He's getting a little bit older. I don't think he's like chasing any titles or anything like that. He's uh he's being Sexyama, right? So he's still
That's a good
working
point.
out. He's still training, so he must be
He's
ready to
being
go.
sexy.
I think that he should fight Vitor.
Well, do we? Is that a segue, John, for my
Yeah, your
Earth
interview.
shattering exclusive today? If you
Exactly,
didn't see
exactly.
it on scmp.com/MMA, I'm going to bring it up now for them, John, because
Mhm.
they should have seen it. This is breaking news right here on the Post Fight podcast on South China Morning Post. Who is Vitor Belfort fighting next? None other than Chris Jericho. Oh, that's who he wants to fight. Okay, this is the news. I got the scoop from the lion's mouth. Is that what they say? The horse's
Yes.
mouth. The phenom's mouth. Vitor Belfort wants Chris Jericho in AEW. Okay, so now AEW is on TNT, and One Championship has just announced that they're doing a bunch of shows on TNT, US Primetime Network, right after AEW, which is a professional wrestling show. All Elite Wrestling is going to lead into One Championship's One on TNT series. And Vitor Belfort is thinking out loud, he told me. He wants Jericho, Chris Jericho, obviously WWE legend, professional wrestling in general, legend, icon, 50 years old. Phenom versus Phenom, as Vitor put it to me. He says he wants it. And then I think if you're an MMA fan, the other interesting tidbit is he says he's not actually really interested now in fighting for the one heavyweight title or going after that. He only wants legendary fights, he told me, and interesting things, like legendary things. So he wants basically big money fights. What I took from it is he wants to create a buzz, John. He could go and fight Alan Nalani, which is what was in the works last year before the pandemic, but is it going to make him loads of money? Is it going to cause him a load of stir in the world? No, but if he goes and has a match in AEW with Chris Jericho, that could be fun, right? That could create a lot of buzz and that could help One Championship maybe get some of that audience from AEW and bring them into a One Championship card right after. Do you think this is good? This is bad? Is it nonsense? I mean, I'm a pro wrestling fan, and I got to say, I think it's a bit of fun.
Any way to cross over and bring in a different level of audience or different demographic, you got to do it. Especially as someone that is so well established in one sport, which is MMA. Vitor crossing over and doing WWE or AEW or whatever it's called nowadays. It it'll be massive more for One Championship, than it would be for Vitor, I think, because Vitor will be flying the flag of one championship, and it will help one championship push into uh, a crowd or a demographic, like I said earlier, that hasn't been tapped into in North America, especially with one championship. One championship, I don't think many people that know about one championship to the level of, like, let's say even a Bellator or even the PFL. I think that you're still one championship still struggling to kind of get a foothold there. This will be a massive step in getting a massive foothold in North America.
Yeah, and you've got to think that first card of one on TNT is Eddie Alvarez against Yuri Lapicus and
Mhm.
Demetrius Johnson v Adriano Moraes. That's two former UFC legends and champions who do, and trust me, believe me on this, they still bring huge eyeballs and numbers. Whenever they fight in one, SCMP's traffic goes off the charts. There's nothing that compares to it in one championship. I'm being flat honest. No one in one pops the numbers like Eddie and DJ. So you've got them on that card. I think it's a great idea. And Chris Jericho is larger than life. I mean, he's not a Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock, but he's in that level below those Mount Rushmore level Hulk Hogan guys. He is respected throughout, and he has a lot of fans. A lot of people will tune in, I think, and I think there's a good chance for a crossover. I also think it's a bit of fun.
Mhm.
Do you agree with Vitor's mindset here, though? Because he's 42, I think, maybe 43. He probably knows he's not gonna go and win the heavyweight title in one. He can make a boatload of money fighting Chris Jericho, and it's not even a real fight. And he also teased us, didn't he? He called out Jake Paul or one of the Pauls. Do you think Vitor is transitioning? I think a lot of people now are seeing the dollars in these crossover fights, these celebrity fights. They can make a lot more money, can't they, John?
Yeah, they'll
Than
make a lot more
actually
money.
doing real fights in organizations and working your way up for 4 years.
Yeah, well, you gotta be an established name, though. So working your way up and building your name and winning titles, that's gonna benefit you later on in your career when guys like a Jake Paul or a Logan Paul call you out, if they do call you out. Vitor is making the right move. I think that he's older. He can't take as much. I don't think he could take as much damage to his body. I'm not saying that he has no chin or nothing like that. It's just the damage throughout the years just accumulates, and it's hard to kind of prevent that from happening if you're continue to train hard and fight. So putting yourself out there like that, Vitor's doing a great job. I think this is much better than his Jake Paul call out, which was, I feel like, a disaster. Um,
And they got a bit of history. They did this thing last summer. Do you remember we
mm,
talked about it in the early stages of the post-fight podcast?
yeah,
I think we did a little segment on this. I think Henry Cejudo was there as well.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was
for
all a bit
sure.
of fun. But that clip got millions of views, I think, on AEW's YouTube. Obviously, that's the Mike Tyson effect, but Vitor was there, and then he told me that they wanted to do Mike Tyson v Chris Jericho, which I've heard as well in other circles in professional wrestling, but Mike couldn't do it. So there might be a chance they can make this work. And you've got to think, if you're Tony Khan, CEO of AEW, there's some. He likes money, I think, and there might be money there. So it doesn't take much effort. I'm interested to see it. We got a few comments about it. Chris is here. Vitor versus Y2J, biggest fight of the year. Wish we could get Swagger Hager, which is Jack Swagger / Jake Hager in one championship. Rug or Nalani. Now that would be a really cool crossover as well if they want to get Jake Hager involved. Jim wanted two, also saying that he could fight Jake Hager in one. That would be a good crossover. I would love to see it. Jim also saying Vitor better watch out for the Judas effect. Exactly. Chris Jericho's finishing move, John, is a spinning back elbow. So
And he calls it the Judas effect.
yeah, because his whole theme song is called Judas, which he wrote himself with his heavy metal band called Fozzy. So
Okay, all right,
there you go.
makes sense. Well, anyways, mixing it all up together, it's a great idea. You see nowadays, maybe 5 years ago, we would just be talking straight MMA. That's it. But now it's just so much crossover. You got Paige VanZant going over to Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship and getting paid a
Yeah.
healthy sum, way more than any other promotion was offering her. And then you got Vitor trying to wrestle, Hall of Fame wrestlers. You got Mike Tyson boxing again in these major pay-per-views. You got celebrity YouTube boxers challenging MMA fighters and making a ton of money doing that. There's so many things going on right now. It's, a lot of people might hate it, but man, I think it's great for the sport. It's helping MMA. It's helping the fighters find different ways to make big money. um why not? Let's just continue it. And I wanted to just go back onto the Paige VanZant thing, because she's debuting in a couple days. And it's not because I interviewed her, but I just think that Paige VanZant, she's gonna end up being like a legend, I think, in bare knuckle boxing. I don't know, I just get that feeling from her, you know what I mean? A lot of people doubt her, but I feel like with just boxing and just how young she is, and just how much passion she has for just fighting in general. And she's been through a lot throughout her career, right? Just with injuries and stuff. And a lot of people will quit. She broke her arm 3 times, man. That's a lot. Like three, I think maybe 4 times. I don't even know, but that's a lot of times breaking your arm. People don't give up. People give up easily, and she didn't give up. And she's now going to the hardest, probably most brutal uh version of fighting, is bare knuckle boxing. I think she's gonna go in there and take over. I think that that's gonna happen. I don't know. I might be completely wrong, but I just get that feeling from her. I feel like that's why uh bare knuckle boxing wanted her so bad, that she's just, it's like the perfect storm for her. And they
What
could.
about this? I mean, Bruce Banner was asking earlier. Was it martial arts that brought her to bare knuckle instead of Bellator, or was it money? Because you were saying, I get the vibe that Paige is a martial artist, not a prize fighter. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of
it-
course. You're gonna look at that and say, okay, if she was a martial artist, she would have signed with Bellator. If she would have re-signed with, um, what is it, the UFC. But when at the same time is like, you could be a martial artist and still want to get paid as much as you can for fighting, because at the end of the day, it's fighting, right? So I think, she's still a martial artist. Is If that's what she believes she is, if she lives that lifestyle, then how who are you to challenge that? I mean, she's the one who's out there putting herself in front of thousands, millions of people, and risking losing, getting beat the hell up in front of everybody, not us. So it's hard to question somebody to think like, are you a martial artist or not? I think she's fully a martial artist, but all at the same time, I feel like she's a prize fighter too, because she's going for that prize. That's some big money out there. But anyways,
are you hearing that sound? Or like,
yeah,
did I put that on?
I think so.
Oh, it's my. Okay, this is so funny.
Why?
So my Bluetooth speaker just has this new ghost life where it turns on in the middle of the night or in the middle of the evening
That's scary.
and just plays random shit which I have not selected. So I have no idea where this is coming from. I might have a haunted Bluetooth speaker. It's actually quite scary. You know what is it called? Like the sound bar. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's actually quite alarming. So I'm gonna go turn that off briefly.
for
So
sure, for
John,
sure.
you're going full screen here.
Oh, yeah, like Nick has a ghost inside of his Bluetooth speaker. My daughter had a doll that lights up and makes like noises and play songs, and that would start to go
That is
off in the middle
terrifying.
of the night in her room. And
Oh,
that is kind of scary, right? There's a like when the doll starts, it flashes, and then the songs come on, it just randomly out of nowhere, when you really have to push the button to have that happen. But yeah, I had to get rid of that doll. You know what I mean? I'm not into that.
oh, yeah. I'm not. I have no time for anything like that.
No.
That just terrified me. And I'm not happy about it. I am scarred for life.
All right. What we got here for the comments?
All right, yeah, a bunch of comments. Sorry. Bruce Banner back in the chat. Does it irritate you guys to ask questions to guys like DJ who change promotions, like who has better competition, UFC or one, knowing the answer is their current promo? I mean, I've
I've
asked
never
DJ
asked
a
that.
lot.
I've never asked that
Well,
question.
yeah, I mean, DJ does do. He doesn't even mention UFC, which is comes down from top in one. They don't like you to mention UFC, which I find preposterous, John. They say North America instead of UFC. If you can't acknowledge your competition or so-called competition, it's like if anything, you're being smaller than them. You're showing you're smaller than them by not acknowledging their existence or their name. I don't
Well,
like that at all.
well, if I ask DJ about the UFC, it's gonna be about something in the UFC. I'm not gonna say like, who has the better roster.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's just you're setting them up. You're like you don't want to. You try your best not to set up your whoever you're interviewing into kind of pushing, painting themselves into a corner and saying something, wrong or untruthful or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's just there's people out there that will do that, right? And if I was a fighter, I'd probably get angry, you know what I mean? I'd be like, why would you ask me that? Like what that I like those interviews when
Yeah.
the fighters like ask back like what are you talking about? Like I've seen
Yeah,
a few
I
fighters
like
do that.
I've had it to me a few times, and I do realize, you know what, I was asking for that.
Mhm.
We all ask stupid questions sometimes, man,
Yeah, of
and it's
course, of
nice
course.
to be put in our place sometimes. And yeah, I try and avoid anything silly with DJ or Eddie. You don't want to just be like, "Hey, so tell me everything about UFC," because they're not in that organization anymore.
Yeah.
They probably don't want to talk about it so much. I mean, if they want to talk about it, they'll let you know and they'll answer your questions. But I mean, otherwise, here's another one from Brandon Mendes. What's the poster in JHK MMA's background? I mean, there's a few there, John. What
There's
are
a
they all?
few. This one right here is Full Metal Dojo 13. I went to this one.
Okay.
This is John Nutt right there. There's Will Chope, Tommy Hayden. I forgot his name, and then there's the black guy from the movie. And this poster is TFC 15. This is the first time I saw Zhang Weili fight live. She came to Korea, fought for the title for TFC, won the title by TKO. That's the first time I've seen her fight live, and I've seen two of her title fights. The one in the UFC also when she won the title against Andrade, and then over here, this is Habib and Dustin. This one is also TFC 8. TFC has some cool like posters because they like did like some cartoon characters or whatever you want to call it, and I put that up. Right here is AFC. Over here is Zeus. Most of my posters are just local Korean promotions. I just want to give them some love, so I put them up.
Well, there we go. Hope that answered your question, Brandis. Mendes. Oh, there we go. All right, other questions. Ganis Pimentara, what's up? Is it true that Paul Lemihi will compete on the 5th of February? Yes. Well, they've already fought. He's fighting TL Tang, who is obviously a teammate of Ong La and Sang at Sanford MMA. Ong La was in his corner. That fight has already happened on January 22. I don't know the result, and I'm not going to try and find out the result, but we'll have it here live on Friday. Well, we won't be showing the fight. We'll have a live fight companion. But yes, Paul Lemihi will be fighting Teal Tang on the Unbreakable 3 card. Should be a good one. Can't wait to see it. All right, Jim 102 saying, I think PVZ would have had more success in one, but let's see. Yeah, I was going to say that earlier. I thought one seemed like a good home for her. She maybe could have slotted in nicely with that Atomweight Grand Prix, that scene. I don't know, but obviously she got more money from Bare Knuckle. And look, I heard the numbers. They sounded astronomical. I don't know if you heard them, but someone was throwing about the word million. So
Millie, yes, it was millies, like crazy.
Elise, yeah, multiple millions. So look, you're gonna get offered that, and it's a 2-year contract, I think. So anything happens, she fights that out, and then she can go do mixed martial arts again. It's no biggie. She's still really young, I
She's
think,
only
as John
26. She'll be
26. Yeah,
28. when the contract's over. That's like she's
Easy,
still
man.
young. She's still young,
And
so
mad props to her for going and getting that money.
for
I like
sure,
it.
for sure.
Any predictions on how Manel Cape's UFC debut goes? Asks Jim 102.
It's hard to say, but he's gonna go into that matchup the much bigger fighter, and he has knockout power,
Sorry.
and he's explosive, he's smart, he's strategic, and he's battle tested. And that's one thing that's so important is about Manel Cape. He's battle tested against some of the best bantamweights outside of the UFC. You've seen him in Ryzen compete. He won the title over there against a guy that knocked out Horiguchi. So Kyle Sakura. So we'll see what happens with Manel. You know what I mean? I think Manel, I've been covering him since the early days of when he was fighting for Ryzen and speaking with him throughout the years, man. He's always been the same guy. You know, this guy that you see now talking in interviews, he was like that in the beginning. Like he's always been like that, which you love to see. You know what I mean? Guys that are really themselves, and they're truly an entertainer. So I think that's what Manel is. He's a guy that's an entertainer. He's a guy that takes everything seriously, and he has goals in his life. So it all starts in his UFC debut. It's not going to be easy. Pantoja's a tough dude, but I don't think if Pantoja plays the game on the feet with Manel, I don't think that ends well for Pantoja. So I could see Pantoja maybe trying to close the gap, try to drag him to the ground or something like that. But I haven't seen Manel Cape get to the ground too much. But if there was like one little hole that you can see, it would probably be on the ground. But in the stand up, he's just as good as anybody in the UFC in those
Is
lower weight
Manel this
divisions.
weekend or next?
Huh?
Yeah, he is. Is Manel this
He's
weekend?
this weekend, I believe.
Oh God, can't
Finally,
wait.
finally.
Been waiting for it. It's been so long.
Yeah.
It's actually like a sneaky good card. There's a lot
Yeah, it
of
is.
interesting fights on here. I mean, actually, I heard Andre Ewell's out, right?
Yeah, he's gone. COVID.
Yeah, but still got a lot of big names on this card. I mean, Diego Ferreira, Benil Dariush. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Corey Sanhagen, Frankie Edgar's great. Obviously, the Reem v Volkov. Michael Johnson and Clay Guida. That's gonna be cool.
Yeah, yeah. Those are
And
good fights this weekend.
yeah, just some fun fights. I think it's gonna be a sneaky good one. All right. What do you think of Umar Kane's debut? That is Rug Rug. I hope I pronounced it right. He told me that's how to say it. He knocked out Alan Nalani in the first round on One Championship Unbreakable 2. I mean, John, it wasn't the most exciting fight, was it? They kind of just stood off each other for 3 minutes, and then he Omar knocked down Alan, and then just kind of hammer fisted him on the ground for a bit, and the ref
Yeah.
stepped in eventually. But yeah, I mean, it's a debut win in One Championship for Rugrug, and it is 2-0 in his career. I mean, he did what he had to do, right?
Yeah, well, he's a diamond in the rough. Let's just say that, right? He's he's unpolished, right? So but he can go in there and use what he knows and get the job done and get those first round finishes. Now it's who can come in and take him to the second round or the third round, right? Be able to withstand the onslaught and to see how Umar fights when he's tired. Like these are the questions that we want to have answers to, right? Because we know that he has the power. We know that he has the strength. We know all of that, but we just don't know if he can overcome adversity. And that's what I want to see in his upcoming fights coming up. But his debut, it couldn't go any better, man. A first round finish? Is there anything better?
I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
take it too.
Especially, I mean, they had a lot of respect going on. It was good to see. I mean, that interview I did with them, John, what did it get in the end? 125,000 views.
That's crazy,
Yeah,
right?
mad. Obviously, a lot of love for Umar Kane in Senegal. And it's another good thing. Anytime I love seeing when MMA goes into a new market and a star explodes, and then the sport just you see it being born in a new place. And I think Africa, especially, is such a big market. Potentially, everyone talks about China, but I think in terms of like the ability of fighters, Israel Adesanya always talks about it. Like Nigeria, he says there's so many good fighters in Nigeria who don't even know it just because they don't put on a pair of gloves and they don't train. Like the potential is huge, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Growing up, you see, like when I was growing up, there was a lot of kids out there that had no training at all, but they can just fight like in the street. Like they could just fight. They're like naturally good with their hands for some reason. And I think there's a lot of people in this world that are like that just never got introduced to MMA, never got introduced to kickboxing, boxing, or jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai or whatever, but physically they're just gifted, like innately they're gifted. And wait until we start to pull those people out of the woodwork and introduce them to the sport and have them train for their whole teenage years and then enter the pros with so much experience and knowledge. This sport in the next 20 years is going to be insane. Like we're going to see so many good fighters that every promotion is going to have killers, and they're going to be all just as good as the guys in the UFC. And it's starting to happen slowly right now, but I'm saying like in the next 10 years or so, 15, 20 years, it's going to be crazy. But until then, let's just enjoy life.
Yeah, 100% agree with John there. Chris is asking, where does Rugrig train? Maybe evolve. I mean, I do know he trains in New York. I'm not sure what the gym is, but he's been kind of living back and forth between Senegal and New York. So,
Oh, New York
I,
City?
yeah,
Oh,
he flew into Singapore from New York, but yeah, he's been training there, working on just not just MMA, but general fitness.
oh.
Do you think he needs to go move out to an evolve or needs to, I don't know, what's best for him?
New York, there's a lot of great places to train out there. I think the most important thing is that he needs to have heavyweights to train with. So, you know, it all depends on like where he goes, but there's a lot of heavyweight. He could go to Las Vegas. He could go to AKA in California. He can go to American Top Team. Lots of heavyweights there. There's a few places out there. I don't know. There's not many heavyweights. I don't think there's any heavyweights that evolved. The biggest fighters are probably like the lightweights. Yeah.
All right. My mouse just froze. Sorry, I'm gonna hold this
You got
trackpad
minutes.
here. Tim is back saying one Archuleta versus Kyoji. How do you guys see it going? Oof,
Mm.
it's gonna happen at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think it's a fight that's in the works at all. I don't feel like, that Ryzen or Bellator is even entertaining it at this moment. I feel that Bellator has their plans with that bantamweight division. I heard that they could be having a bantamweight tournament, and that could be a way for Horiguchi to come over and get into that tournament and fight, which Archuleta will be fighting in the tournament himself. But if I was Archuleta, I'd be pushing for a title defense. I wouldn't be pushing for a tournament. Well, in the tournament, he'll be defending his title. So I guess it works out for Bellator and Archuleta. But I don't think that they're gonna fight each other in Tokyo or something like that. Tokyo just put in some like harsh COVID restrictions today until March 6th or something like that. So yeah, Japan's not doing too well with controlling the virus. But if I was gonna pick somebody to win this fight, I would go with Horiguchi. I feel like Horiguchi is just his speed and timing is gonna be big problems for Archuleta. And if Archuleta can't wrestle him, then it's gonna be a long night for Archuleta. Archuleta needs to be able to utilize his wrestling against Horiguchi. If he doesn't, then it's gonna be a clinic on the feet. Archuleta's tough, but I think Horiguchi's just much more faster, timing's better, and he has that knockout power, which is a huge difference.
All right, yeah, we do have an interview with one Archuleta coming this week from Andrew Whitelaw. Should be
Mhm.
good, guys. His Nathan Greed. How do you guys get into this? Do you guys have a background in MMA or martial arts? Nico, you need to join us for some BJJ in Hong Kong. Nathan, I would love to join you for some Brazilian Jiu Jitsu in Hong Kong. Look, I made it one of my New Year's resolutions, but everything is still shut here. Tell me where and when and why I can do it. I'm there. I got a few friends who also telling me to come to their gyms. I really, 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 really want to get into it, but it's impossible right now. I still can't even go to the gym. Things, it's illegal. I know a guy who runs a BJJ gym, and he says, it's illegal now, literally under the law. So it's tough. Get down to DJ. Go. All right, I'm there. Tell me when I'll come and see you. I really want to do it. I know, John. You've done a lot of jujitsu before, though, haven't you?
Yeah, I think if I list my background in like martial arts, it'd probably be taekwondo for years and years when I was young. Like I was training with adults when I was like in elementary school, so I was pretty decent in taekwondo. But that was nothing for fighting. It was just taekwondo, right? Discipline and all that. And then I did wrestling for a year in middle school, which I found out throughout that whole year that wrestling is not a sport that I like doing. It is one of the hardest, most in like endurance is so important. There's the training is just at another level for wrestling. But I did it for 1 year, and then after high school, college, I was doing yeah, I was doing like boxing from time to time, a little bit of Muay Thai, and then I did jujitsu for like probably a 4 year span, and I competed too, and then after that, basically the COVID hit, and haven't been doing anything since except for like maybe some home workouts, and when the weather gets nice, I'll probably start running again. But other than that, yeah, I'm gonna try to get back into it soon though. I gotta not make the excuse of COVID and just try to find a place to do it. That's the only thing.
Yeah. I mean, hold me to that, Nathan. I do want to come check it out. Definitely. I've been meaning to for a while.
Mhm.
I had big plans, and then the world went to shit, and I used that as an excuse, John. And now look at me. I'm
It's a
a
great excuse to have
mess.
though.
It's a great excuse. Yeah. I'm not one of those guys who can just do like a home workout, like lifting up the pots and pans and like grabbing household items and making a home workout. I don't haven't got the drive or motivation. I need a vibe of a gym to really get involved with it. All right, Nathan says we'll get you down there, brother. I am down for it. Let me know. Let's do it. Is the gym still going? Because I've heard a few other gyms had to close because of the restrictions. I am hoping beyond hope that the gym's open this week. There's a big announcement, I think February 6th. It should be end of this week. We're going to see of the restrictions that are lifted. I am so ready, John, just to get in the gym and do a few bicep curls, and then I'll be sore for 3 weeks after that. But I just, it's a huge part of my life. I never realized it till it's gone, how much it keeps me in check mentally. And it makes a lot of bad stuff just kind of go away a little bit in your head. Mental health is very important. And I always just forget until I get in that gym. And even if it's not like the biggest workout, just doing something for an hour, lifting weights, it just clears your head a little bit, doesn't it?
No, definitely you gotta work out. Like today I did like what is it? 20 times 10. What is that? 200? Is it 20 times 20? What's 20 times 20? Or 20 times, yeah, 20 times 10. That's 200, right? So I did 200 squats and 200 push-ups today just to do something. You know what I mean? That's what I usually do. I try to just to do something. I try to do that at least. The push-ups is always good because it makes you feel all sexy, and you all get the pump in your chest, and you want to be all like walking around like you're a bodybuilder, but really it's just the feeling. You don't look like that.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
well,
Well,
Nathan saying the gym's gonna be open soon, hopefully. So look, all right, I'll make you my promise, John and Nathan. You can hear. I will be there. I promise. Let's do this. I am seriously keen on that. It helps my mental clarity. Yeah, it does, doesn't it, John? Just I didn't realize until it had gone, and I haven't been for 2 months now. This is the longest we've had the gyms closed in Hong Kong since the pandemic started. Longest I think I've been in my life for the last 15 years without going to a gym, and it is taking a toll on me. I maybe need to do some of these push-ups and what else? Squats.
Yeah, those are basics right there.
If
Push-ups and squats.
if I grabbed my webcam now and like showed you the space I have in my flat, it's like there's not even space to do a push-up. You know, I'd have to do it on the sofa or like maybe against this desk here. It's not ideal in Hong Kong, but there are a lot of people who go out to the parks. I mean, Alan Nalani trained for that fight with Rug in the parks. He was telling me because his gym was closed. He had to go to the park and work out. So there's always an answer. I know I'm taking the easy way out, but that's what I do.
So
I make excuses in my head. So no longer. Yeah. I also can't wait to get back into a spin class, man. I'm so just ready to just get in the spin, listen to some stupid dance music, and like get a sweat going. I'm really up for it. All right, Nathan is in Happy Valley. Chris asking about my rooftop. I mean, Chris, there's not much space up there either. You've seen it. You were there for Christmas and New Year's Eve, and it's pretty dirty. I'd have to get the hose out. I can do that tomorrow. Too many excuses. See, I'm just making excuses. Oh, with the barbecues. Oh, Chris is lying here. There's not that much space. Come on. There is a barbecue and a sofa, but they take up all the space on the roof. He's trying to make me look bad. These are thanks I get, John. This is insane.
well, before we head out, right? I wanted to talk about the Azaitar brothers, right? These
Yeah, that was
guys
the other thing
have.
down on. All right,
So
yeah,
before we take off, like let's talk about that. But while I'm talking, Nick, could you uh
yeah.
bring up these guys' Instagrams, because I feel like people need to know about these guys' Instagrams. Um,
Which
now
one?
with both of
No.
them, you'd be shocked how many people follow them. Okay, you'd be shocked, and you should be shocked at like some of the stuff that they post. Like they don't even look like they should be MMA fighters. They should be, I don't even know, like DJs or something. I don't know what they should be, but these guys are extremely popular. But one thing about them, let's review back. UFC 257.
Can you got me to? I can't find Open on here. Yeah,
You can't
this
find.
guy's got 25 followers, so it's not
No,
him, right?
you just gotta just type in Azaitar probably.
Oh, there you go. It's 2 T's. My bad. Okay. Give him a
So
little
how many
follow.
followers does he have?
All right, a lot more than 25. Yeah, 837,000.
Okay, now the guy is a fighter. He's fought a few times. He's undefeated. But would
Is
you
this is
look
this
at his
the?
Lamborghini?
All right.
He's
Where is it?
driving a Lamborghini. Is that a Ferrari or a Lamborghini? One of those, right? It's like,
Car. That's all I know.
yeah, like this guy, he's the one who got kicked out the UFC a couple weeks ago for having a mysterious bag delivered to his to his hotel on Fight Island, and then nobody knows what's in the bag. But I heard that this is rumors, but I heard some speculations about like some substances in the bag, right? But anyways, he's got kicked out, but I don't think he even cares about it, because look at him, he's living this like damn Brazilian, whatever his name is, lifestyle, right? He's Gucci'd up, he's driving around in Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Almost 1 million followers are on his Instagram. Like, what is he, this guy a James Bond type agent? Who is this guy, right? Like, how did he get this type of following? His country must really, really love him, or that region must really, really love him. But the big question is, what was in that bag? Why did he get suspended? And another big question is, will the UFC just kind of sign him quietly again and then have him return? Those are some questions that I have in my mind about him. But a lot of people, you guys need to go and check these brothers out, man. It's like, it's very unusual, like what kind of hype they've created for themselves, especially with their social media. I think they're always posting things with like really famous people. um yeah, and just look at them, man. They're enjoying life. They're living their best life, and this guy's undefeated with like 15 knockouts or whatever. So it's not like he sucks at fighting. And then what about his brother? How many followers does he have?
Only the 445,000.
Still, like, even like ranked fighters that are popular don't even have those numbers,
It's kind
right?
of Jet here or whatever it's called.
Yeah, that dude is jacked. No wonder he got busted by USADA. If this brother got busted by USADA, he's suspended for like 7 months or whatever. Um, the other brother has 1.8 million followers.
Is this not even one of the brothers? I just found a random Azaitar.
I don't
I don't.
know.
What's the
Is he in the
brothers?
UFC?
Maybe
Who has?
Abu.
Who's that?
Oh, there you go. Sorry, that was a completely unassociated Azaitar.
Oh, he has 1.9 million.
1.8 billion. Here you go.
Wow. Like, who has 1 point? Does Anthony Pettis have 1 point? Type in Anthony Pettis. Does he have 1.8 million? Because Anthony Pettis was in a what is it? He was in a Wheaties box. How many followers does he have?
1.5
He has 1.5. This guy, we don't even know. Have you ever seen him fight?
Showtime or
No, I'm talking about the Abu.
okay. Yeah, no, I have not. No, but
Exactly. Right. And he
pretty.
has more Instagram followers than Anthony Pettis, who has won world titles, who
It
has
shows
fought
you
the best of the best.
it's popular in the region, man, of the UAE, places like that. Middle
Yeah.
East is so huge now, and that tells me a lot. I was thinking about this today, why they're in such a rush to get Hamzat in that title picture is if Habib does retire, they want a new superstar for that region, and Hamzat is perfect. But
How many followers does Hamzat have?
let's have a look.
And you know all of his followers jumped on last year in 2020.
3. So Abu
Huh?
Azaitar got more than him.
Yeah, and he has 1.3 million. Man, that's still a lot. That's just as much as Anthony Pettis, basically. Wow.
All these likes I got. All right.
Okay, so it
There
just
you go.
shows you. I just wanted to put the spotlight on the Azaitar brothers, man. They're in the news for all the wrong reasons, but they must be doing something right in their region, in their part of the world, to where they got this massive following, and they're not terrible fighters either. So it's not like they're like cans doing it. You know what I mean? They're guys that train legit. I think they're both managed by Ali, so Ali's giving them the best opportunities, but. Yeah, man, Azaitar brothers, follow those guys. Those guys are the
I just
I don't
gave
know.
them both, and also that one I thought was their brother, who is not. So we'll see what kind of content he provides. I'm
Yeah,
excited. He looked like he had a fun lifestyle as well. He had the jet ski.
yeah. Well, I think maybe that's their brother too. He just doesn't fight, and that's
Yeah,
why he has many fighters, followers.
yeah.
But yeah, it just anyways. Yeah, I just wanted to spotlight those guys, and maybe you guys should follow them and see what they're doing because they'll be fighting in the UFC eventually sometime. So
Yeah,
we'll
with
see.
such an audience, I think it will not be long before they're back. But
Definitely.
that about wraps it up. I think we haven't got anything else to talk about. All I'm
Yep.
doing, I'm waiting for these likes and retweets to flow in from Chris Jericho, from Vitor Belfort, from AEW. I'm ready to drive this narrative. I want to see this dream match: Vitor Belfort against Chris Jericho.
Push it. Push it.
Yeah, and everyone wants to see it in the comments. It seems popular.
Yeah.
Let's
Let's do
see.
it.
It's around about now. Everyone's waking up in the US, so let's see the fireworks go. I've
Exactly.
sowed the seeds for the agenda has been written. It's going to be driven. I cannot wait. AEW, get on it. Otherwise, John, what you got going on tomorrow?
Me, I got a couple interviews coming up tomorrow. I think
Nice.
this week is kind of a light week for me. I'm still busy doing other things, so I can't fill up my schedule as much. But I do have, like I said, Paige VanZant's going to come out tomorrow, and then later this week I'll most likely be talking with Jairzinho Rosenstrike, who is headlining the end of February card, I believe. The one that was supposed to be, I think it was supposed to be Prohaska versus Reyes. For some reason, Jairzinho put up a post saying that he's the headliner of that date.
Yeah,
So
that one's
nobody knows. Yeah, nobody knows what really is going on with that. So we'll see. we'll see what happens. But I'm gonna speak with him. He's always good. He's one of the guys I've been talking to for a long time. And you see, this is what you call building relationships. That guy, he never forget. Like I'm the one that been talking to him before anybody that wanted to talk to him in the UFC.
Erie
So,
or Biggie Boy?
huh?
Erie or Biggie Boy? Because you speak to both of them.
Yeah, but more of Biggie Boy. Like Biggie Boy is a guy that just like, yeah, it's just anytime, you know what I mean? And he's always like, yeah, man, you know,
You
we
put that thing
go
up,
back.
and who is Jahinzio? What was that thing?
Who was it?
They spelled it wrong on the. You wrote an article for someone, and then in the
No, no,
subhead,
no. Someone else
Jahin.
wrote an article about the video that I did with Jairzinho, and then I think the Body Lock wrote an article about it, and then some other websites picked it up, and then they wrote his name wrong in the, in the article. Like they wrote it Jahinzo or something like that, which
Oh, I
is
just
not
found
his
it.
name.
I
Yeah.
got it
All
on
right.
here.
Let's see.
If
Let's see.
anyone did see this, just as a quick laugh, but it popped me in the morning when I found that. Yeah, so this was it. Yeah, sorry, Josie Rosenstruck says he doesn't know how. Alistair, I can't talk. Blah, blah. There you go. They put it Jer Heinzio here,
Yeah.
and look who pipes up.
Yeah.
It's Jer Heinzio.
Yeah. He's a cool dude. Like he's cool, but he's like an even keel guy. He doesn't really ever get like super excited or anything like that. But always good to talk to because you never know what you're gonna get from him. Because sometimes you'll get like these like straight answers, but then sometimes you'll get deep into certain topics. So always fun to talk with Jairzinho. And yeah, I'm trying to get Jan Blahovic. You know, last week I guess he was doing some things, so couldn't set down a time. But hopefully this weekend I'll get to speak with him and trying to get a couple other bigger names in here. But while I get the bigger names, of course, I'm gonna be talking with the guys that are coming up, the prospects, and lining those up and knocking them out. So look out for a few of those coming in this week and next week and every week because it's just gonna flow now. You know, with Bellator is gonna start up again. I want to start getting into doing more Bellator fighters. PFL is gonna start. Nick knows we're gonna start talking to a lot of the PFL guys, get them on the show. Yeah, it's right now it's kind of slow for us, to be honest with you, right? But wait until next month. As this month moves forward, it's gonna start picking up. You guys are gonna see a lot more content coming through. So stay locked. Make sure to subscribe to this if you're listening to this for the first time, and smash that like button. Leave a comment. Anything we said, leave a comment down below on, just say whatever you want. It doesn't matter. We don't care. We don't
Call
control it.
us out. I mean, look,
Yeah.
as Chris says, let's get to 20K. Yeah, we are very close to 16K. And John and I set a target of, I think, 20K in 2021. We turned the new year about 12K. So to already go through 15 by the end of January was crazy.
If we get 21K, like it's 2021, if we get 21K by the end of the year, we've had a massive successful year, I believe.
I think, 3K in the first month of the year. I'm very happy with that. And a lot of that was down to you, John, your excellent interview with Dan Hooker.
And Rug, your show with Rug.
Picked up loads of fans in Senegal.
Yeah.
If you're watching, give us a comment and give us a like. Jim is going to send the what did he do? Vitor Belfort, Chris Jericho to Dave Meltzer. Thank you, Jim.
Oh.
Yeah, literally one of the highlights of my career was, and this sounds really sad, I'm a huge fan of Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez and all the guys over at the Wrestling Observer and Figure 4 Online. And they once read out one of my articles on this show, and it's such a fun little moment because I listen to that show every day and when I go to bed and when I go to the gym. So happy. Oh yeah, if they want to point to that, that'd be so cool. I just hope there's a little bit of interaction with it. It's a bit of fun, but anyway, we'll see how that plays out. And otherwise, yeah, we might be back for a podcast tomorrow. We might be back for a UFC preview. Chris and I will be doing one definitely on Thursday. So keep it tuned on SCMP MMA, and we will see you all again next time. Thank you for watching and or listening.